Okay, guys, next part of the circle unit is circle algebra problems. These are going to be algebra problems about angles, arcs, and segments within a circle. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is just go through the vocabulary associated with a circle. We define a circle as a locus of points. A locus of points just means a set of points. A fixed distance called the radius from a fixed point called the center, right? So the actual circle is all those points in that distance around the point. Some things to remember about a circle is a circle has 360 degrees. The formula for circumference of a circle is pi times diameter, or 2 pi r. Okay, and when we name a circle, we name it by its center point. So if I have a circle right here, and the center point right there is labeled A, I would call that circle A, okay? An arc is any part of the circle, okay? So remember, the actual circle, the center is actually not part of the circle. The circle is all these points that wrap around A. So when we say any part of the circle, an arc is just any piece of that ring around A. So that would be considered an arc right there from point to point, okay? A radius, we've seen that before. A radius is any segment drawn from the center out to a point on the circle. Okay, so that would be a radius right there. Again, it doesn't matter which radius I draw, they're all the same length because all the radii of the same circle are congruent, okay? All right, a chord. A chord is any segment having its endpoints on a circle. So if I have a circle here, again, I have some sort of center, we could call it A. Okay, if I want to draw in a chord here, a chord would just connect any 2 points on the circle across the circle. Okay, now if that chord goes through the center, okay, then we could call that chord a diameter. Okay, so again, if that chord, so let's draw our circle again. If that chord connects point to point, but passes through the center, it's a diameter. Okay, so that would be, again, there's an infinite amount of diameters I could draw in that circle. As long as it goes through the center, it is a diameter. Obviously, all diameter of the same circle are going to be congruent. Okay, all right, a secant. A secant is a line segment that intersects a circle at 2 points, a line or a line segment. Okay, so you could think of a secant as basically an extended chord, right? So if I take a line and cut through the circle in 2 places, like I do here, okay, we call it a secant, okay? When they talk about a tangent only intersects a circle in 1 point. Okay, so what that would look like, so it would only intersect at 1 point on the circle. So it actually kind of just touches in and bounces right back off. So that's what a tangent would look like, okay? Congruent circles are 2 circles with the same radii. So if you have 2 circles, they both have a radii of 5, they both each have a radius of 5, they have to be congruent. Okay, that kind of is self-explanatory. Concentric circles are 2 circles that have the same center. So you're thinking, all right, well, how would I draw that? Well, so we have a center A. So if I have 1 circle going around A, a concentric circle DC would have to loop around that circle so they have the same center. Okay, so technically I could call both of those circle A because we name them by their center. Okay, going back to arcs, okay, we can describe arcs in 2 ways, a minor arc and a major arc, okay? So a minor arc is an arc. Now, if the entire circle, right, so the full arc around the center is 360 degrees. So any arc is going to be some piece of that. We still measure arc in degrees, okay? So it's going to be some fraction of that 360 degrees. So if that fraction of the arc, let's say, goes from here to here, okay, is less than 180 degrees, so less than half the circle, we would call it a minor arc. Okay, so the way we would name arcs, okay, you have to name it by the endpoints. I could call this arc AB, and the arc symbol is just a little arc above that, or I could call this arc BA. Okay, now a major arc, okay, is same kind of thing. It's an arc of the circle, but it's when the arc is more than 180 degrees, right? So here's the thing. So do you see here, if I take my same endpoints right here, but I go the other way, that would be a major arc. Now here's the thing about major arcs, right? So technically, if you look at that, you could say, well, can't I name that arc AB also, right? If there's only 2 arcs in the entire circle, can I name them both AB, AB? Okay, so if you, how do you distinguish between which 2 arcs you're talking about? Well, typically there's 2 ways to do it. I could just, if I want to just leave it as is, I would actually have to describe it as major arc AB, and then you know you're talking about the big one. Or more often than not, we just name major arcs with the 3rd letter. So if you have a 3rd letter going on, if I call this arc ACB, I now know it has to be the major arc, or I could call it arc BCA, either way. So once you throw 3 letters in there, that's how we can name a major arc without actually saying it, okay?